Hi, my name is Jocelyn Neal, and this is our 10th session in our Melodic Dictation workshop series. Welcome back. Today, our main topics will be chromatically altered scale degrees. We are specifically going to focus on raised scale degree 4 in the minor mode, and we will be working on some rhythmic patterns in simple quadruple meter. If you haven't done workshops 1 through 9, I recommend you jump over and do those first, then come back and join us here. As always, you will need to be somewhere that you can sing out loud, and you will need some staff paper and a pencil. If you haven't clicked that subscribe button yet, I would love it if you would just reach down and click that right now. Now let's warm up. Here is our key, and we will be warming up in minor today. Solfège scale, double do on top. 3, 4. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, le, so, fa, mi, re, do. Intervals. Major, second, minor, third, perfect, fourth, perfect, fifth, major, sixth, major, seventh, perfect, octave. Major, second, major, third, perfect, fourth, perfect, fifth, major, sixth, minor, seventh, perfect, octave. Major, second, major, third, perfect, fourth, perfect, fifth, major, second, major, third, perfect, fourth. And now we will sing our scale in thirds. Here's tonic. 3, 4. Do, mi, re, fa, mi, so, fa, le, so, ti, la, do, ti, re, do, le, ti, so, le, fa, so, mi, fa, re, mi, do, re, ti, do. And let's tonicize in minor. Here's tonic. 3, 4. Do, mi, so, fa, mi, le, so, ti, do, re, do, ti, do, so, mi, do. And let's switch keys and do our minor arpeggiation pattern. Here's our new key. Do, mi, do, so, le, fa, re, ti, do, te, le, do, fa, do, le, do, re, ti, so, la, ti, do. Today, our main focus will be chromatically altered scale degrees in the minor mode. So let's think for a moment about our minor mode scale degree ladder. At all times, we know where tonic is, we know where scale degree 5 is, and we have that sense locked into our head about where the tonic triad do, me, so is. We know where our half steps are, we know how those pitches tend to resolve, and we know that we have the chromatic alteration of raising scale degree 6 and 7 in ascending melodies and lowering scale degree 6 and 7 in descending melodies. Now, the chromatically altered pitches that we are most likely to encounter in the minor mode beyond raised scale degree 6 and 7 are the following. We have raised scale degree 1, which has the syllable D and resolves up to re. We have raised scale degree 3, which is the syllable mi and resolves up to fa. And we have raised scale degree 4, which is the syllable fi and resolves up to so. In each of these cases, these raised scale degrees function in almost every circumstance as a local leading tone resolving into that scale degree that is a half step above them. For today, our main focus will be on scale degree raised 4, which is the syllable fi and resolves up to scale degree 5, or the syllable so. So let's add 2 specific warm-ups to our work today. Each of these will emphasize these raised scale degrees and their proper resolution. Here's our key. And let's sing our chromatic alterations. Do, re, mi, fa, fi, sol, la, ti, do, te, le, so, fi, so, fa, mi, fa, me, re, do. And now let's sing our chromatic patterns warm-up. This one will be in compound duple meter. Here's tonic. Here we go. Do, me, so, fa, mi, fa, so, fi, so, la, ti, do, te, le, so, le, fi, so, mi, fa, me, re, ti, do. I recommend you spend some time practicing this particular warm-up. If you look at the patterns that show up in measures 3 and 4, you're going to notice some particular patterns that involve the step above the target pitch and then the note below it. Look, for instance, where we see the lowered scale degree 6 moving down to the raised scale degree 4, resolving to so. So, le, fi, so. And then we have a similar pattern, so, mi, fa. And we have another pattern at the end, re, ti, do. In each of these cases, we are above our target pitch, and then we jump below the target pitch and resolve into it. I'll do those 3 patterns again. Le, fi, so, so, mi, fa, re, ti, do. Those are really good ones to work on. We are also working today on rhythmic patterns in simple quadruple meter, and I'd like to talk for just a minute about one conceptual way to approach these. When I'm listening to rhythms in a musical context, I am thinking about the dimension of time, and I am mapping it onto a physical, two-dimensional space on my paper. So when I hear one measure of music, I'm thinking of that as occupying the space of one bar on my paper. And I like to conceive of one measure of music in simple quadruple meter as having 4 spaces in it, each of which represents the duration of one beat. Within each of these 4 spaces, a number of different things could happen, and I'm trying to capture the sounds in my head as holistic patterns. I could hear one event that starts at the beginning of the beat. That would be a quarter note. I could hear 2 evenly spaced events in one of these boxes, and that would be 2 eighth notes. I could hear a long note and a short note all within the span of one beat, which would typically be a dotted eighth note and a 16th note. Or I could hear patterns of 4 16th notes in that beat. Now, the melodies we are working with do not typically include syncopation, rests, or triplets, so in fact the 8 patterns you see here show all the patterns that you are likely to find in these melodies. Take a look at the last 2. These represent the rhythms you may find if the previous beat had a note value longer than one beat, such as a dotted quarter note. In these 2 cases, the rhythmic patterns that we hear in these beat durations begin in the middle of the box. To summarize, these 8 rhythmic patterns represent all of the rhythms that occupy a single beat that you are likely to hear in simple quadruple meter in these melodies. Let's read them. Ta, ta, di, ta, mi, taka, di, mi, ta, di, mi, taka, di, ta, di, mi, ta. And when I listen to a melody, I try to capture a visual representation of where the notes fall within each of the 4 beats in a bar. Now let's use that concept to do some one-bar rhythmic transcriptions. Grab some staff paper, grab a pencil. In each case, you are going to hear exactly 1 bar of music in 4/4, and I want you to think of capturing those patterns as quickly and completely as possible. Let's begin. Number 1. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. Number 5. Number 6. Here are the answers to those 6 one-bar rhythmic patterns. Now let's do some work with both pitch and rhythm. Today we will be doing 2-bar transcriptions, although the second bar will always only have one note in it. And in these instances, I'd like you to be listening for the combination of pitch and rhythm together and to transcribe these as quickly as possible using your shorthand notation. Now, we are going to be hearing a raised scale degree 4 in each one of these, and let's talk briefly about the contexts in which raised scale degree 4 is likely to occur. We will be working in D minor right now. Here's our key. The first context where we will hear a raised scale degree 4 is as passing motion between scale degree 4 and scale degree 5. Here's 1. And here's 4, sharp 4, 5. The second context in which we will hear raised scale degree 4 is going to be as a lower neighbor to 5. Here's 1, and here's 5, sharp 4, 5. The third context in which we're likely to find a raised scale degree 4 is this wraparound pattern where we're going to hear lowered scale degree 6, jump down to raised scale degree 4, and resolve to 5. Here's 1, and here's lowered 6, sharp 4, 5. And the less common context in which we could find scale degree 4 is our arpeggiating up from scale degree 2. Here's 1, and here's 2, sharp 4, 5. So grab some staff paper and we will do 6 of these transcriptions. In each case, we will be transcribing these in bass clef, in D minor, in 4/4. You will hear each pattern only once. Here's tonic. Notice that the first pitch is given to you and the first pitch changes for some of our exercises. For numbers 1, 2, and 3, the first pitch is going to be that low D. Number 1. Number 2. Number 3. For number 4, notice that the first pitch is a high D. Here is that note. Number 4. Number 5 also starts on a high D. Here is that pitch. Number 5. Number 6 starts on scale degree 3, which is the pitch F. Here is that F in context. Here's number 6. Take a look at the answers. Here are the 2-bar transcriptions we just heard. And let's catalog the patterns that we heard. We heard 5 sharp 4 5 in number 1. We heard the arpeggiation 2 sharp 4 5 in number 2. In number 3, we heard the chromatic passing motion 4 sharp 4 5. In number 4, we heard the wraparound pattern lowered scale degree 6, raised scale degree 4, back to 5. In number 5, we heard lower neighbor motion 5 sharp 4 5. And in number 6, we heard chromatic passing motion 4 sharp 4 5. Now take a look at number 4. In number 4, make sure that after you raised scale degree 4, you then used an appropriate accidental, in this case a natural sign, to lower scale degree 4 at the end of that measure. Let's listen to number 4 and notice that you hear both G sharp and G natural. Here's D. Here's number 4. Now let's get set up to do our melodic dictation exercise. Grab some staff paper and a pencil and we'll begin. For today, we will be working in the treble clef. We will have a key signature of 2 flats and a time signature of 4/4. So we are working in simple quadruple meter. We will have 4 measures of music. We will hear this played on a viola, and our first pitch will be the note G4. You will have the note head given to you, but there's no stem on it, so we don't know what the first rhythm will be until we hear our first playing. Now, before that first hearing, we also want to do a little more preparation. We're going to look at that first pitch, and we're going to look at the key signature, and we're going to write on our music that we are in the key of G minor. We're also going to look over that last measure and put our best guess of a last note in. We are in simple quadruple meter, so we're thinking that the last note is most likely going to be a half note on the pitch, G4. We don't know that until we hear the first hearing of the melody, but that's our best guess. And now we're ready to begin. Here's our first hearing. Okay, on that first hearing, as always, we want to be able to get that first opening melodic segment, and we want to hear our melodic cadence. In this case, the opening melody was scale degrees 1, 2, 3. We heard do, re, mi. And if we look over into measure 4, our ending came down fa, re, do. Fa, re, do. We're ready for our second hearing. Let's put a couple of anchor pitches in on this second hearing. In measure 2, I heard a scale degree 5 in the second half of that bar. And in measure 3, I heard a scale degree 1 in the first half of that bar. And I heard another scale degree 1 in the end of that bar. Let's do our third hearing. Okay, on that third hearing, we identify the location of our chromatic pitch, and in this case, it happened in the first half of measure 2. Now, on that fourth hearing, make sure you are also checking all of your scale degree 6 and scale degree 7 occurrences, making sure that you're doing any chromatic alterations that are needed on scale degree 6 and 7 in a minor key. Here's your fourth and final hearing. Okay, let's work through our melody together. Our opening segment started on tonic and ascended by scale. So we have scale degrees 1, 2, 3. It returns to 2, and then we heard a raised leading tone at the end of measure 1. In measure 2, we heard a descending scalar passage from tonic coming down through a lowered scale degree 7, but I don't have to write the accidental in because we have crossed a bar line since our previous F sharp. That scale continued to E flat, and then I heard a skip down to a raised scale degree 4, which resolved up to scale degree 5. Do, te, le, fi, so. And there was a dotted rhythm there. And that scale degree 5 was followed by a lowered scale degree 4. Notice that we had to put our C natural in with that accidental. In measure 3, I heard a tonic arpeggiation. That's a pattern that I'm listening for. We came from scale degree 3 through 5, up through 1, and all the way up to another 3. Here's that arpeggiation. Me, so, do, me. And then we stepped down to scale degree 2, leapt to the leading tone, and walked up a scale. Re, ti, do, re. That scale that we're hearing from the T through the do and up to the re continues to me and fa in the last bar. Scale degree 3 up to scale degree 4, jump down to scale degree 2, and cadence on tonic. Let's look at a couple of the features of this particular melody. So we had a T-Do resolution. Into measure 2, we had a descending scalar passage that came down to lowered scale degree 6, and we had the wraparound pattern from a lowered scale degree 6 down to a raised scale degree 4, resolving up to 5. We made sure to put our C natural accidental in. We then heard a tonic arpeggiation. We then had a wraparound pattern of Re Ti Do. We had an ascending scale, and we had a 2-1 cadence. Let's sing the melody. Here's tonic. Do, 3, 4. Do, re, mi, re, ti, do, te, le, fi, so, fa, mi, so, do, mi, re, ti, do, re, mi, fa, re, do. Measure 2 contains our raised scale degree 4, and since that is our focus for today, I'd like us to sing that measure together. Here's tonic. We're beginning on measure 2. 3, 4. Do, te, le, fi, so, fa. And one more time. Here's tonic. 3, 4. Do, te, le, fi, so, fa. Now let's look at our final transcription and listen to the melody one more time. Thanks for watching. See you next time.